Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 23 Driver Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. We are headed to Austria for a sprint weekend, so it's going to be an exciting one to say the least. Of course, coming off of the ups and downs that this Season 3 has had to offer so far. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Max Verstappen continue to really duke it out for the title as, of course, with a 16 race calendar, we're already about closing in on the halfway point of this season, so it's going to go by pretty quickly. Really hoping that we do get those R&D, resets at the end of Season 3, but obviously we're not going to know for a while yet if those are coming or not. We'll usually find out around that Singapore area, probably another Grand Prix or two later after that. But we roll in to Austria. We're going to roll through practice and qualifying pretty quickly, as it is a sprint weekend, so I always like to speed things up a little bit here, so I'm not taking up too much of your time. Let me know down below. I mean, what do you think about the video lengths? I know a lot of creators, Arava, Tom, Matt, Ben, all of those guys, they do a lot longer videos, like 28 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere in there usually. I personally like to keep them about 20 because I feel like there's not enough action in the F1 games to really warrant going further than that. Let me know though down below what you think of that. Now, as you as well may notice, there's a new engine sound in the car. Yes, we have got it modded in. We have the Honda engine sound in the game, in the Aston Martin, so you'll notice that in the background as we roll through into qualifying here on Friday afternoon before the sprint, of course, race on Saturday now, as we're going to get ready to roll. So the common trend has been Q2, usually is about where this car is going to be. So my first lap in Q1, we crossed the line and go P12. I would try to run another lap, but I would invalidate it right at the end here. I don't know what I was thinking. I simply drove off the track, but we were able to squeak through anyways. P14 as Piastri, Jackson, Iwasa, Sargent, and Lawson all out. We now focus in on Q2, and here we come through turn 1, and this is actually my second lap because I invalidated my first lap, so that's 2 invalidated laps already in qualifying. But you can see the gains we were making, but it wasn't looking like it was going to be enough. I was barely out, making it past Tsunoda, who was only in P11. Tsunoda's coming out of the final turn. He is going to come through to the line, and no, he stays P11. He will not make Q3, and I think we're going to be in the same boat again. Yes, we are. We crossed the stripe and it's P12, so P11 and P12 for the Aston Martin team. A little disappointing as usual now. Bottas, Butler, Pourchaire join us out. Fortunately, we have a sprint race to make up some spots. We're going to head straight through to the formation lap for the sprint on Saturday.
The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
You know the drill, give it all today. Be aggressive.
Yes, sir. Thanks for the hard work, guys. Some work to do as usual, but we can make it happen. Ready to roll here from Austria for the sprint race now. Right there with our teammate of Yuki Tsunoda now, as it's going to be a difficult day. I think we, of course, find ourselves in the R&D, separated from all the cars behind us, but a bit separated from all the cars in front of us. We're kind of on an island of our own, and at a track like Austria, you're going to see that really showcase itself here now as we are ready to race here for the sprint. And it's lights out. We're underway for the Austrian sprint race now. As you can see, a slow start from the Ferrari of Leclerc. I'm blocked off right there. It was 3 wide in front of me, so we were just kind of forced to wait it out. We're alongside Tsunoda now as we head down this short chute here. I say short chute, this is a long straightaway up towards turn 2 and towards turn 3 as well. As you can see, the 2 Mercedes of Hamilton, Russell out in front. Russell, of course, with such a hot start to the season. Hamilton finally picked up his first win of this Season 3 in Montreal in the Canadian Grand Prix, where, of course, we showed up and had one heck of a final half of a Grand Prix as well, as they're side by side in front of us. They get it sorted out. Perez stays ahead. I was P12 here now with Tsunoda deep into turn 4 right there. Nearly had some contact with Gasly. He would then force it 3 wide up the inside into turn 3 on Ocon and Leclerc on lap 2. Look at him going at it, getting the elbows out. I'm going to slip through into the mix as well. A terrible run for Tsunoda. Into the grass we go. A pass in the grass. Dale Earnhardt, what, 1982 style, I think it was, way back in the day. As we continue down into turn number 4, we'll clear Gasly Gasly now and move up into P11. Of course, no points for finishing 10th, but we're right to the back of Esteban. Oh, gonna lock up right there on the apex from Tsunoda, and I nearly drove into the back of Esteban, but we get around the outside, and now we have DRS, and here's a huge run on the back of our teammate. We'll swing to the left side, wheel to wheel, down the straightaway, clear already into turn 4. Hold on, Tsunoda's gonna look back up the inside. He's not gonna have enough power there to fight back. P9 is where we end up, but it would not last long. Tsunoda fighting back, yellow flags in the background. Looks like maybe one of the Williams having trouble, maybe Oscar Piastri, but Tsunoda unlock up again. We nearly destroy the car on him there. He passes us and then he makes another error. And thankfully it didn't lead to an accident, but you could see Pierre Gasly would move up into P10 after that whole ordeal, and actually coming into these closing moments already of this sprint, he would run me down and go for the overtake. I was really struggling here in the sprint on pace. Tsunoda as well was running us down because we would start to do this. We would start to get into these tussles right here. I pass him, he passes me back. We're going to go for an overtake on him again here down towards turn 4, and you can see the gap to Tsunoda only 1.5 seconds at this point. He is closing in pretty quickly, loving, I'm sure, what he is seeing as we go down into the apex there, into these final couple of laps in the sprint. Final lap underway, and Tsunoda had run both of us down as we go down into turn 1. Gasly briefly had a look. That moves Tsunoda into P10. P9 and P10 for us, it's not going to be enough for points. Hamilton wins the sprint over Max Verstappen, as well as George Russell there in 3rd place. We're going to bring it home here out of the final turn, hopefully for P9. Tsunoda actually is going to get here, but it's not going to be enough. So P9, P10 for Aston Martin. No points for either of us. So, you know, is what it is. I felt like, honestly, we both maximized the potential of this car. It's just not quite there. The speed isn't there, but hopefully we can maybe see some of that Austrian GP chaos here in the actual race. Jackson ends up P16, getting beaten by his teammate of Devin Butler there in P12, who seems to be turning it up lately. Now, let's head to the grid on Sunday for the Grand Prix.
Welcome from the beautiful Styrian Mountains for another chapter in the story of the Austrian Grand Prix. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 meters above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of around 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill of turn 3. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Albon, Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Golden Boy, Tsunoda, Butler, Bottas, Sargent, Théo Pourchaire, Jackson, Liam Lawson, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Gasly, and Ayumu Iwasa. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Golden Boy. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Alright then, we're ready to roll here from Austria now. So starting P9 on the grid, taking a bit of fuel out of the car. We're going to be on the mediums to hard strategy as we usually are. We're not really looking for anything desperate today as we're ready to roll. Alright boys, just going to try and repeat what we did yesterday and do what we can.
Yep, we got what we got here. Make the most of it.
We are really hoping for some chaos here to be able to give us better finishing results here, or that maybe as well being able to hold on to the DRS of hopefully the Ferrari specifically in front of us now. But only one way to find out, and that's by getting this Grand Prix of 36 laps here in Austria underway. We're ready to roll. Hamilton on fire as of late. He leads the field as we're lights out and underway. A terrible start for both Ferraris. Leclerc, Sainz go backwards. Unfortunately, Tsunoda's stuck right behind both of them. As we dive down into turn 1, right behind Lando Norris, Perez, Albon slips through into 4th place. Of course, he's been the top driver so far this season at McLaren. Can Lando Norris say something about that here today after he got beat by Albon in the sprint? Norris goes defensive on myself here into turn 3. Bit of a lock up there for myself. Russell, Verstappen side by side for second. Leclerc went around on my outside there. We fight back to the right side of Norris, who doesn't give us much room. We get forced off the track. Okay, no worries now. We settle into P7. He goes defensive again down towards turn 4, and he'll hold on to the position. Hamilton out in front and driving away already here now as we come through the end of the lap 1, and you can see the pace just not quite there. I burned through my battery that lap, and that's going to now open the door for Leclerc to pass me, and then a few seconds later his teammate comes through and he's going to pass me as well, and maybe he's going to have a lunge on the left side of Leclerc. Here comes my teammate of Tsunoda right into the mix. I dived to the inside because I thought I missed my braking zone and I was about to destroy Carlos Sainz, and I did not want to do that. Right on the back of the Ferraris now, and you can see it would be Leclerc that would win that battle. Sainz would settle through into P8. We come straight through to lap 6, and we were just kind of in this train, and we had the DRS, and this was opening up opportunities now to actually put some fight to Sainz, and everybody around us is on the soft tire. We're the only one in this vicinity right here that's on the mediums now. We lunge into 4 up the inside, and we're actually going to pass Carlos here, it looks like. Yes, we will. He tries to fight back up the left side. He continues on. Is he going to back out of it? Yes, he will. So Sainz holds on now, stays put behind us, and now he's just going to try and focus on staying ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who's been able to stay up here as well. But hold on, he's already fighting back up the inside, really showing, you know, the lack of pace that this car has at times now. So Sainz through into 8th place here. So we continue though in this little DRS train, and this continues to open doors. Lap 8 now, you know, the softs are starting to fall off a bit compared to the mediums, so we're hoping for opportunities to be able to move forward, and we get the overtake done on Sainz. A lap later, lap 9, Albon actually a bit of a lock up onto the apex, and that opens the door for me again. So up at a P7, how long is this going to last though? Because although their pace is falling off, they're still going to have overall more pace around the whole lap, it seems like, on those softs. You can tell because Leclerc is driving away 1.5 seconds up the road. Perez in P5, he's actually on the same strategy as us, but we had a strategy change here as this run was going on. So we were originally going to pit about lap 16 to 18 or so, and we were going to put on the hard compound tire. But now the plan is we're going to stretch this out, and instead of putting on the hard, we're going to put on the soft tire around lap 20, 21, 22 area. You can see starting to fade a little bit as this run goes on. Sainz is going to go through, so back down to P9. We have a 2.5 second advantage over my teammate of Tsunoda. That's surely to decrease after that by at least a few tenths of a second. But Sainz is going to pit at the end of lap 15, and he, as well as Lando Norris, are into the pits. So this is going to kick off, of course, the whole pit cycle. We should be leading for a brief period of time based off a new strategy change. So Albon, he's going to come in, and then the drivers on mediums are about to roll in as well, kicking off with race leader of Lewis Hamilton, lap 19, and he's bringing in Max Verstappen as well. So they slide on those hard tires. So we're going to be out in front of these guys. Hamilton's not going to be far behind me. So basically, I was looking at, okay, we're going to pit whenever Hamilton gets close to me or passes me, and he's only 1.2 seconds back, and he's flying. So it's likely at the end of lap 20, we're going to pit. So we ran about 4 extra laps compared to what we were originally going to do. Hamilton passes us, no big deal there. We're not racing him this season, which really sucks to say, at least until we get the Spec 3 upgrades on the other 2 departments in the R&D. Is it going to be a winless Season 3? You have to wonder. I hope not, but we'll have to wait and see. We're already running out of time. We come through into the pit box, and we go for this soft tire strategy. Now, this strategy will really help if we get a quick safety car, but I'm not quite sure if that's going to happen because things seem to be getting a bit spread out. However, you look at the track map, there's a whole just group of slower cars at the back of the grid right there with each other, and they're not far from going a lap down. I think they will go a lap down. There's such a difference in Season 3 between the top teams and the bottom about 4 teams or so, and you are really seeing that on display at a track like Austria, where the high speed is everything now. Lap 24 at this point. We're closing in pretty quickly on the back of Tsunoda, who's on the mediums. 4.1 seconds between himself and I, and you can see 8 seconds of Perez. We're not going to run down that group. This strategy isn't quite working the way we were hoping, but we should be able to run down Tsunoda. Let's go through the grid with 10 laps remaining.
Hamilton in full control this whole weekend. He hasn't ran away with the lead, but he's managed it to perfection.
A good run for Norris, as well as he's planted right behind the Red Bull. We've seen Albon outperform Lando a lot this season, so this will surely be a confidence booster day for him.
Hey guys, just wanted to chime in about Perez. He's really had no pace today, has he? Down in 8th currently, but there is still time for things to change. But not looking great as of right now. I've also heard that he has considered possible retirement at the season's end, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Could that finally open the door for Owen to move to Red Bull? We know there was talks last year going into this season, but there was so much uncertainty at Red Bull with their performance that they didn't want to throw a driver lineup change into the mix.
It could open the door for it to happen. Aston is struggling this year. Owen has had a few engine failures already. It would not be a shock to see him leave and go to Red Bull if Perez did decide to hang up the helmet.
We have some great battles on this circuit. There you see 3 wide Iwasa, as well as Porcher and Logan Sargent in the Williams Martini. He had a decent sprint going for him, but now finds himself, of course, at the bottom of the grid. Lap 28 underway, and you can see the gap has been cut drastically at this point to Tsunoda. Less than a second between himself and I. He's gotten the best of us a few times, mainly because of mechanical issues, but did outpace us in Imola. Bottas with a mechanical failure with the BMW co-owned by Fernando Alonso. Of course, that team is not been a great start to the season for them. Of course, one of the teams focusing on Season 4 with hopeful regulation changes on the way at the end of this season. We passed Tsunoda around the outside into Turn 4. A bit of a slip there on the exit. Thankfully, we still find a way to get out more traction out of it. So, unfortunately, however, Tsunoda able to stick with me. So, I was a little bit concerned that once we get back to the DRS zone, he's probably going to just breeze back past me, and that's exactly what happened. So back down to P10 we go. So it looks like it's just going to be simply a fight between myself and Yuki here in these closing laps. We'll swing back to the right side. DRS open again, and we'll move back up into P9 here, surely down into 4. Yes, we will already clear into the apex there. So back into 9th place. At least we're both going to get points. We're 29 seconds ahead of Piastri, who scored down in 11th place. So there's really nothing to worry about there with the final 4 laps of this Grand Prix underway. Safety car deployed with 4 laps to go. This is really interesting timing. I don't even think there's enough time for the field to get back with each other because there's some lap cars in the mix. Gasly, it's Pierre Gasly bringing out the safety car. He's stuck. He's spun around. That's the same location Stroll did in Season 1. He spins around and right in front of the race leader of Hamilton. That could have gone a lot worse, but fortunately a slow speed corner gives them time to react. But we, of course, have to be racing with 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix, so we're all hustling, trying to run down this group of cars because we know the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap. There's no way it doesn't, no matter what, if the field's grouped up or not. And sure enough, safety car in this lap, which slows everybody down, including myself. Fortunately, I'm still able to get some speed out of this car. Tsunoda was not. Tsunoda was 7 seconds behind me as I'm still hustling up to the back of the field. So Tsunoda just ran slow through the rest of the lap. I'm going to get to the back of these guys right as we're going green. Honestly, you could not time it any better than this. There's lap cars in the mix here with 2 laps to go. What's going to happen? You see them getting out of the way down into Turn 1. Parked on the apex there. Albon, nowhere to go. I slip and slide. That's Liam Lawson and Yumu Iwasa right there in front of us. And they're not doing a very good job of getting out of the way. They're still racing here as we head up the elevation towards Turn 3. Albon's going to stay put. I'm going to lunge it up the inside. There's P8. We steal a position out of it. Can we steal any more positions out of this absolute mess? Look at the lap cars up there. The Ferraris of Sainz and Leclerc are trying to get through, and they were getting stuck behind Aiden Jackson to start the final lap of this Grand Prix. Hamilton as well as Verstappen and Russell have gotten away 3 wide. Split there of Aiden Jackson, who's just been really non-eventful this whole weekend now. As we're right to the mix, Sainz plants it there in front of me. We run into the back of him briefly. We continue on, but that would be all I had. And a bunch of chaos at the end of this race, of course, ignited by the safety car. Lewis Hamilton hangs on anyways to win the Austrian Grand Prix, his 2nd win of the season, 2nd back-to-back win as well. Max Verstappen, Russell, the rest of the podium. We exit the final turn. Albon right there on me. He had run me down the whole final lap, but it wasn't enough. It's going to be a wild ending here in Austria. P8 is what we end up. We'll take it. You know, this is a difficult track when you, of course, are a bit down on pace, so I'm pretty happy with that effort. Driver of the day somehow as well. We'll take that. Let's head to the podium.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Any track like Austria is not going to be easy for our car, so the fact that we pulled P8 out of it was pretty good. We're quite simply a 9th and 10th place car, so we ran about where we should have all race long, and we cannot make a single upgrade to our Aston Martin Honda until we get Spec 3 in 2 more of the departments. So we've got 2 departments with Spec 3, 2 departments on Spec 2. With the ones with Spec 3, we've already fully upgraded, so we need the other 2 to get to that Spec 3, hopefully in the coming episodes, so we can then get that car to the same potential that, say, Mercedes find themselves at, you know, Red Bull find themselves at. Last season, we were in the same spec as those other teams, which is why we were so competitive. This season, we're a bit behind, which is frustrating. You can maybe narrow it down to the transition to Honda a season early, and we're maybe paying the price for it. It is what it is. A lot of things are, of course, up in the air right now. Are we going to remain with Aston Martin? Are we going to go elsewhere? There's so many, you know, moving potential objects, I guess you could say, that could happen here. A lot of rookies are disappointing right now, like Iwasa, Butler at times. Even Jackson was disappointing today. A lot of interesting things developing for sure. But I believe the next one we're going to Silverstone, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that'll wrap it up for me. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, everybody.